back here with another winning lineup review. This is from the 2/7/22 NBA shot machine for $50,000. Alienware took this home last night. Shout out to them and congrats. This was definitely a bit of a weird one. It's dominated heavily by some shooting guards and some small forwards here, and a nice little off the wall play at GPP for the center spot there. As always, if you guys like this video and want to keep seeing them, go ahead and drop me down a like below and subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep pumping these out for you. So let's go ahead and get started. At the first point guard spot, we have Donovan Mitchell. Came in with a nice 60-point game here. He always has a chance to blow up due to his high minutes. He plays about 35 plus a game, and great opportunity on offense. Nice usage, coming in about 20 shots a game. I believe this night he put up 26 shots. There's a little bit of trend going on with the Knicks defense over the last 5 games. Evan Fournier's been playing about 30 minutes a game, pretty solid. And during that span, shooting guards have been kind of giving the Knicks fits. I believe all 5 of them have gone over value. And Fournier also played the 30 minutes to keep the trend going tonight, and I think that kind of certainly helped Donovan Mitchell out on the defensive end. Another thing that kind of could have contributed to a success. The Knicks had no Kemba Walker, and usually when Kemba Walker isn't playing, the Knicks are kind of a weak spot for point guards. They kind of give up a lot of fantasy points there, and with Donovan Mitchell being more of a combo guard than a true shooting guard, handling the ball a bit more, I think that kind of also helped him out as well. At our next shooting guard spot, or I guess for second point guard spot, we have Terry Rozier. He came into a night, great game environment, second highest total on the slate, and the tightest spread. As we know, that's a prime game environment spot for our guys to produce, both our shooting guards, point guards, and our small forwards. The Hornets came to the game down 2 wings. They were out Boatwright and Cody Martin. I believe it's Cody, not Caleb. Cody. And then during the first quarter, I believe about 5-6 minutes in, they lost Gordon Hayward. So that definitely opened up some more minutes, some more playing time for Terry here. He got up to 41 minutes last night, and I believe he took 17 or 19 shots. So definitely got a bit of a boost there. Also came into the game averaging pretty well against Toronto. He averaged about 39 points when given 30-plus minutes over his last 2 games. So with that good history and on top of that extended minutes, he was able to put up some good stats and didn't turn the ball over that much. Had 1 turnover last night. And I know in the past couple of games that's kind of been holding him back from hitting those high point totals that he's used to. First shooting guard spot, third shooting guard in this lineup, we have Devin Booker. Over his past 15 games, he's been the guy out there in Phoenix, averaging about 20 to 30 shots a game, just chucking the ball up, 35 minutes a game. So he's certainly going to go out there, take his shots, try to score 50 every night. I believe that's his mindset going in. Been shooting kind of mediocre. Tonight he got it going. I believe hit over half his shots last night. Again, this was the highest total on the slate, and that's something we look for with our shooting guards, our small forwards, just guys that go out there and put up shots and try to score. It's usually a good indicator that they're going to have a good night that night because a lot of points are expected to be scored. He also came in with a good history against his team. As we know, the Bulls, over their past about 5, 6, 7 games, they've been playing little to no defense. So we could expect a lot of scoring out of the Phoenix Suns. And the Bulls have a pretty good offense as well. So they have enough offense to definitely keep the game closer. So there's little blowout risk to be expected. Although they did blow them out toward the end of the game, the last 2 minutes. So all the starters got a full complement of minutes. And as I mentioned previously, he had a good history versus the Bulls. He's averaging 47 fantasy points versus the Bulls this season over his last 2 games. Second shooting guard spot and our fourth shooting guard on this lineup, we have Josh Giddy. SGA was still out tonight, so Giddy was a de facto point guard with SGA out. That gives him an increase in minutes and shot attempts. He's been playing about 35 plus minutes a game, taking around at least 15 shots a game as well. And during that span, he's also been averaging a nice little steady floor of 35 plus fantasy points. So definitely a guy who's been pretty consistent with SGA out. He's going to come in and, get his 35 plus minutes, his shots up, and leave you about at least 35 fantasy points. Giddy's a guy. He contributes in all areas, as we can see. 16 points, 7 assists, 11 rebounds. So he's a guy who can come in, night out, and get you a triple double. So he definitely has a high ceiling. Definitely a guy you always want to target, especially with SGA out, because I feel in these coming games leading up to the All-Star break, he's gonna have an explosion where he goes for 60 or 50. So definitely a guy I like in these current situations. I know coming into this night, this game is expected to be a blowout. But looking back at the games since SGA has been out, the Thunder have been keeping these games pretty competitive. I believe the only blowout they played in was when they blew out the Trailblazers. So they've been in every game they played with SGA out. I believe maybe perhaps due to them playing more team basketball than kind of letting SGA kind of just do his thing and chuck up some shots. So that should have kind of eased some concerns for anybody expecting a blowout out there in Golden State uh, versus the Thunder last night. So could have expected a full complement of minutes of Giddy, and he did that and was able to hit his value tonight, scoring about 39 FanDuel points. At our first small forward spot, we have Miles Bridges. Similar to Terry Rozier's situation, came in with the second highest game total, tightest spread. Again, great game environment. Again, like Terry Rozier, the Hornets came down 2 wings. Then they lost Gordon Hayward pretty early in the game. So that allowed some extended minutes for Miles Bridges as well. He got up to 42 minutes. And whenever this guy gets in the 40-minute range, he typically does well, 50, 60-point games. And that's to be expected when you're playing nearly the whole game. So he definitely made worthwhile of his minutes. Came in with a 52-point game. And I believe he came in pretty cheap. He was about 7,000, which is way too cheap for a guy this caliber. He can contribute everywhere, every stat category, as we see. 25 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, some defensive stats. And a guy who's taking about 15 to 20 shots, simply too cheap for that. So it's definitely a nice little taking advantage of the price dip there. Second small forward from the same game we've been talking about a lot here, Gary Trent. Again, for the third time, fourth time, second highest game total, tightest spread. Gary Trent's a solid minutes guy, solid shot floor. He's going to give you about 35 minutes, 15 to 20 shots. Toronto plays their starters pretty heavily. So he's going to be out there playing, taking shots. And with him being in a great game environment like this, and with Charlotte down all those wings, it might help him out on the defensive end a little bit. Going against some softer defensive matchups. But again, he was another guy who came in with solid history versus Charlotte. His last game this year, he put up 40 fantasy points against him this year. So definitely pretty solid history, and he came and kind of backed that trend, scoring about 38 tonight. First power forward spot, here we see the point outputs dropping a little bit as we kind of save some salary here and kind of fit in some guys. Power forward was pretty weak last night. The higher price guys kind of dropped the ball a bit, so that allowed these mid-range and lower option guys to kind of shine. First one here, we have Boyan Bayanovich. Healthy Vegas totals last night. I believe it's the third highest game total, and then the second highest team total overall. So definitely some points to be scored here tonight. Outside of Donovan Mitchell, nobody really else is going to score you any points. So Boyan, came in and chipped in with his 20 points. He's a guy who's going to go out there, play 30-plus minutes, give you about 25 to 30 fantasy points a game, at least 12 shots. So he's definitely a solid contributor. Never really a guy that's going to give you a dud. Never really a guy that's going to blow up as well. So, solid play overall to kind of keep the lineup afloat. Our second power forward spot, we have Jay Crowder. Again, steady trend throughout this lineup. Good game environment. This had the highest game total on the slate. Coming into the game, he's working himself back from injury, finally playing his full allotment of minutes, and going up against a weak Chicago defense, as we mentioned previously. One trend to follow with the Chicago defense is ever since Javonte Green's been starting at power forward, the power forwards matchups have been hemorrhaging fantasy points. Every power forward he's gone up against has exceeded value. And they kept the trend tonight with Jay Crowder exceeding value again as well. Jay Crowder's a guy, big utility guy. He's going to score some points, going to get some assists, get in there, get some rebounds, defensive stats as well. So He's definitely a guy who's all around, at a cheap price tag, can kind of get himself a couple steals, a couple points, a couple rebounds, and hit value pretty easily. As we see, he almost hit a triple double last night, which is kind of wild for him, but just kind of accounts to what he's able to do on the court. He also, another guy, came in, solid history versus Chicago. In his last game against Chicago this year, he scored 30 fantasy points. And again, like similar to those other guys on the list with good history, kept that trend alive. And to end the lineup off, probably the best play, obviously. Lowest ownership, highest scoring points. We have Mitchell Robinson. He went up against Udoka up there in Utah. Whiteside was back, but Udoka's beginning to start. Ever since he's beginning to start, he really hasn't been tested against a good center. He started against the Nuggets, against Zeke Naji. I believe Jokic was out and DeMarcus Cousins was out. So Zeke Naji, a bench guy, not really a formidable test to Udoka's defense. The next game after that he started against the Nets, he only got 6 minutes versus Claxton. Claxton left that game with an injury. So coming into this game, Udoka, his defense really wasn't been tested at the center. And as we see, he got tested and he failed pretty miserably against Mitchell Robinson. 19 points, 21 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Just overall a fantastic game. A little bit of a trend going on with Robinson. Over the past 5 games, he's been getting the minutes. He's usually a guy who has sporadic minutes, but it kind of averages around the 19, 20, early, low 20s. But these past 5 games, he's been hovering around the 25-plus range. So he's definitely getting the minutes and the opportunity of these last 2 games. And he's a guy, whenever given the opportunity, with him having such profound rebounding skills and ability to get blocks, he's a guy who definitely can produce when given the time. And he certainly did last night. Thing to watch out in the future, if Udoka continues to start, this could be a definite spot we can look at to target with centers. So keep that in mind from here on out. And that'll conclude this one. If you guys like this one, drop me down a like below and a subscribe, and I'll keep bringing these to you guys. And again, shout out to Alienware for winning this last night. See ya.